Hello everyone, welcome to Mindful Matters, a brand new video series that uses the science of the brain and mind to help cultivate environments for enhanced learning and exceptional achievement. I'm Steve Robbins. I'll be your host, guide, and facilitator as we explore insightful ideas and concepts and give you tools for maximizing student and teacher engagement. At the foundation of today's discussion is the concept of mindfulness. We're going to see what modern science has to say about how mindfulness can help us better navigate a fast-paced, dynamic, and often stress-filled world. A world where distractions abound and where the gravitational pull of instant gratification is difficult to resist. While the ideas we'll examine are useful for both you and your students, it's vitally important that you first apply them to yourself instead of jumping to fix your students and others. It's like the advice you're given on a plane in case cabin air pressure is lost and oxygen masks drop from the ceiling. Take what you will learn and practice on yourself first, then become a role model for the students and others around you. Since we're going to spend some time with mindfulness, we better get a good understanding of what it is. Mindfulness is often talked about as a cognitive state where you're present and in the moment. It's about being fully aware of yourself and the things around you.
I wasn't high, wasn't wired, just clear. I knew what I needed to do and how to do it.
Okay, I know that still sounds kind of ambiguous, so think about mindfulness simply as this: an awareness and ability to focus and consciously direct one's attention to relevant matters. It's a cognitive state where we're fully aware of our thoughts, emotions, and sensations and their potential impact. Again, mindfulness can be thought of in many different ways, but by understanding it as a cognitive skill that can help us be more aware, better focus, and be in control of our attention, then we'll better understand how it can be a powerful tool for learning, achievement, and overall success. Here's mindfulness in action. A student comes home from school. Out of habit, she mindlessly goes downstairs to play her Xbox. But as she slips the disc into the console to begin playing, she reminds herself of a social studies exam she has later that week, and of the goal she has made of doing well in all her classes. She must now make a choice between playing video games and studying for her exam. Did you see where mindfulness entered in that scenario? Yeah, just as she was about to play the Xbox, she became more aware of her upcoming exam, allowing herself to recognize her long-term goal of getting good grades. In the face of doing something that would give her instant gratification, she paused and challenged her habit. What she actually ends up doing is contingent upon some other things like impulse control and willpower. But without the help of mindfulness triggering a mental pause, she's much more likely to be mindlessly controlled by her habit of playing video games after school. A mindful pause in the midst of a habit to consider options seems like a little thing, but it becomes huge when it comes to things like behavioral change and making good decisions. Mindfulness doesn't guarantee good choices, but it can increase the probability that a good choice will become an option. Without mindfulness helping us to see that we have multiple options, mindlessness will guide thoughts and actions. And mindlessness often results in only one option: the path of least resistance. Mindfulness involves an awareness of the thoughts and emotions bouncing around in us. This is important because our thoughts and emotions, they influence the things we say and the things we do. If we aren't good at self-monitoring, we raise the chances of saying things and doing things we later regret. How many of you have ever yelled at officials at a sporting event in front of kids? Who of you have ever tried to punish someone by giving them the silent treatment? We all do lots of things we wish we could take back. Research suggests that mindfulness can help us minimize these mistakes by reminding us that we have multiple competing goals in any situation. If I scream and yell at a referee, I may be achieving my short-term goal of letting off some steam, but what am I doing for my long-term goal of being a good role model for the kids and people around me? If I give someone the silent treatment, I may achieve my short-term goal of letting them know I'm upset. But does it help with the long-term goal of building a good relationship built on open communication? So if mindfulness is helpful for many things, why don't more people do it? Well, the short answer is that your brain would rather be mindless than mindful. Research suggests your brain is always trying to conserve energy, and mindlessness requires much less energy than mindfulness. It takes less energy to operate on a simple rule or heuristic than it does to consider multiple options and their myriad consequences. Moreover, the parts of your brain that allow you to be mindful can be compromised under certain conditions, like stress and anxiety. Think of your brain as having two subsystems. One subsystem is what we'll call the ancient brain. The other can be labeled the modern brain. The modern brain is where your mindfulness circuitry resides. It helps you to critically analyze and make good decisions. However, your modern brain can be short-circuited and go offline when you're hit with high loads of stress, don't get enough sleep, and/or put yourself into a state of cognitive overload. When your modern brain goes offline, ancient brain goes online. Ancient brain mindlessly reacts, does not contemplate options for action, and does not think about the potential consequences of those actions. In more colorful terms, think of your ancient brain as the green creature known as the Hulk, and your modern brain as the Hulk's alter ego, Dr. Bruce Banner. The Hulk is slow to think and quick to react. Under certain conditions, that's good. Other conditions require the more thoughtful and deliberative Dr. Banner for a good outcome. The problem all of us have is that we're all born with a fully developed Hulk who likes to act mindlessly. And it takes many years for Dr. Banner and his mindful abilities to mature. And even after those abilities mature, it takes a lifetime of practicing mindfulness to control the Hulk. Because the students in your schools have a fully mature Hulk and an immature Bruce Banner, recognize they will find it difficult to be mindful. It's harder for them to focus and pay attention to the things you're trying to teach them. They tend to be much more guided by emotion than thoughtful deliberation. They'll tend to give in to instant gratification and make choices that aren't optimal. That's why you'll need to be an external Dr. Banner for them, helping and teaching them to be mindful of their choices and actions as their own internal Dr. Banner matures. In order to help students become more mindful, you yourself must first practice and get better at it. That's it for this edition of Mindful Matters. I hope you'll join me again next time as we continue the journey towards creating an environment where we minimize the number of poor choices and maximize the number of good ones. In other words, a culture of mindfulness.